More Tighter Insider Television in just a moment, but first, time to talk to you about Nukes Express Cafe, 205 University Boulevard East in Tuscaloosa, just up from the UA campus. Open for lunch and dinner 7 days a week, and it is outstanding. You see the word express? That's because they get you in and get you out. If you've got just a few minutes, you can enjoy a fresh-made meal and still get to wherever you're going in plenty of time. Whether it's an oven-toasted sandwich, a California-style pizza, or one of those hand-tossed salads, everything's made with fresh ingredients. They've got a beer and wine menu and a terrific dessert menu as well. Call them for your catering needs, 758-2455. That's Nukes Express Cafe in Tuscaloosa. Hope to see you there. Well, we know Greg McElroy is a smart guy, maybe even smart enough to become a Rhodes Scholar. At last week's SEC Media Days, GMAC told us he spent a large chunk of his summer working on his essay for his application. If he's selected as a finalist, he will have to go through an interview process. The good news is it won't interfere with football because the interviews are set up for Saturday, November 20th. And that's the date Alabama was going to play Georgia State, but that game's been moved up to Thursday, November 18th. So McElroy is good to go on both the football front and hopefully the Rhodes Scholar front. Well, coming up, Rodney will rejoin me with his recruiting update. We're going to be talking about Trey DePriest, name all Bama fans are interested in. Plus, we'll take your phone calls and get to your emails. Again, the information you need to get in touch with us is on your screen. We'll be back with football recruiting right after this on TITV. And welcome back to TITV. Rodney, time to talk recruiting. And before we get to the high school players, an interesting recruits back in the news with Alabama. If the name Melvin Ray sounds familiar, it should. He was part of that great 2008 recruiting class out of Tallahassee, Florida, signed with the Crimson Tide. I see a lot of people saying he's was a commitment. He was a signee. Decided to play baseball with the Dodgers. 3 years in the organization. He decided he'd had enough, and now he has said for the record he wants to play football, and not just play football, but play at Alabama specifically.
Yep, he was very, very highly regarded. As you remember, coming out of high school, Gary chose Alabama over Florida State and several others, and just a tremendous, highly ranked player, and we'll see what happens with him. Again, he's been out of football for a while, and sometimes when guys are out, I guess it can be good, but also it can be detrimental. It takes him a while to get back into it.
He will have maturity on his side. Yep. He's 21 years old. He's been a professional athlete, and because of that, as is often the case with these guys that sign right out of high school, he's got a clause in his contract that the Dodgers are on the hook to pay for his college education. I want to ask you, how does that work? If he comes to Alabama as a walk-on with the Dodgers paying his way, does he count against the 85
total? He's a walk-on. I mean, the Dodgers are paying his way. He's not on scholarship.
Okay, so there you go. It may be a bonus player for the Crimson Tide. All right, now to prospects that are in high school and still have a year of high school to play. Guys in the class of 2011, and Trey DePriest. We've talked about him numerous times, the great linebacker of Springfield, Ohio. But D-Day is coming on Friday.
Yep, Friday. Trey was here this past weekend, Gary, Saturday and Sunday and Monday. Left yesterday, and we've talked about him many times, what a great prospect he is, one of the top linebackers in the country, and it's Alabama or Ohio State. A lot of people say, well, he's from Springfield, Ohio. It's just 45 minutes from the Columbus campus there at Ohio State, but let me tell you, he's going to Alabama.
I was just going to ask you, you're the guru. Rodney Orr making the call here tonight, folks. You can rest comfortably. Looks like Trey DePriest is going to be in Crimson. Interesting prospect here, Philip Ely, a guy that we've heard his name. You've had some stories on him. I don't want to say he's flying under the radar, but there are other quarterback prospects that have gotten a lot more hype than he has.
Yeah, very mobile, athletic kid with the ability to throw the ball. Gary, keep an eye on Philip Ely. He's an excellent player, and we'll see what Alabama does with him.
An offensive line prospect that the Tide has kept a close look on for a long time. And, Rodney, you have stated that you believe Alabama leads for Xzavier Ward out of Moultrie, Georgia.
I certainly think that they're right there at the top, Gary. But then again, that is Georgia Bulldog country. I think they're very much in it, Georgia Tech. Xzavier was here on Friday and half the day on Saturday. His mother came with him, so they had an opportunity to take the tour. And he still has 10 schools on his list. He's going to cut it to 5 in September, and I think Alabama will be one of those 5. And I think Alabama will have a pretty decent shot at Xzavier Ward.
There were reports on some Ole Miss sites that Josh Pinkston was ready to pull the trigger for the Rebels, but you say Alabama's still right there.
Oh, I don't think there's any question about Alabama's very strongly in the mix for Josh Pinkston, as well as Ole Miss and the Mississippi schools. All of them, of course, his brother Todd played at Southern Miss, where he was a star and went on to play with the Eagles. But I think Alabama's definitely very strongly in the mix for Josh Pinkston. I'd keep an eye on him as well. Ole Miss is probably going to get Nicholas Brazel and Tobias Singleton, the two top skilled players over in that state in terms of athletes, wide receiver, defensive back types. But Josh Pinkston, he's been a little unheralded, Gary. He's right there close with him.
That's our recruiting update for this week, and you heard it. The gray-haired guru says trade a priest to
Salt
Alabama
and pepper.
on Friday. Salt and pepper. Okay.
What color is yours? Come on.
I'd say it's light brown.
Okay.
You'd probably say it's blonde. All right, well, that's enough on the hair. All right, let's go to the phones. 205-348 WVUA is the number. First up tonight is Joseph in Tuscaloosa. Joseph, welcome in. How are you? Joseph, you there with us? Going once, going twice? Gone. Okay, he wanted to know where does the 2011 class rank. Well, there's a lot of recruiting still to be done, Rodney, but right now Alabama looks like it's in line. If they close it out the way that it looks like they will, it'll probably be another top 5 class.
Oh, I don't think there's any question about it. You know, Gary, you never hit on all the ones that you think you're going to, but certainly if Alabama hits on about 80, 85 or 90% of those that it looks like they possibly could lead for right now. I mean, let's just say hypothetically, if you do get DePriest, which I believe they will, you've got Cyrus Quanjo, the top offensive lineman in the country from the state of Maryland. I think Alabama gets him. What about Jadeveon Clowney, the #1 player in the entire country? Alabama has a great shot at getting him out of the state of South Carolina. What a class.
Yeah, let me tell you something on Clowney. I don't study it quite as much as you do, but I look at tape, and the great ones I can see them. Yeah. Maybe those beast. That's the only thing we'll say about Clowney, just a beast. All right, Trey is one of our best viewers, we know, because he calls in every week. Trey's in West Blockton. What's going on, my man?
How y'all doing?
Doing well.
I just want to say I'm going to don the crimson and white next season, roll tide.
I hear you.
But, yeah, we're about almost T-minus 48 hours away. I'm assuming TD has already made his big D, and it's just about making the announcement at this point. But my question is about other prospects with whom he may have developed rapport during the All-Star circuit, the camp circuit, or whatever, during, various springs or whatnot, who also have Alabama at or near the top of their list.
Good question, Trey, and that does happen a lot, Rodney. Prospects make friends, they commit to a school, and then they try to recruit those guys.
Yeah, and I don't know if Trey DePriest will bring anyone with him per se. If he was, maybe he would have brought Braxton Miller, the great quarterback from the state of Ohio, who's already committed to Ohio State. So, again, I don't know how that would work, and I don't know if it'll work out in terms of him bringing anyone with him this time. Now, he is very good friends with Vinny Sinceri, the linebacker here at Tuscaloosa Northridge, who is committed to Alabama.
I was just going to mention the Sinceri name. Sal Sinceri has proven he can go into enemy territory, and if DePriest does indeed commit to Alabama, what a recruiting coup for Sal Sinceri to go into Ohio and right under Ohio State's nose pull out the top linebacker in the state.
You're right. He got Phillip Sims last year. This young man, DePriest, possibly this year. Cyrus Quanjo's a Sal Sinceri guy, so
he's good.
Unbelievable.
He's a good recruiter. All right, Rick and Brent, hang on. We're going to get to you. We've got to take a break. More of your phone calls and emails right after this. Let's get right back to the phones. Rick has been waiting patiently, and Brent. Rick, welcome in.
How you doing, sir?
Doing well.
Yes, when Alabama defeated Texas, is Alabama defeated every opponent at least one time when we played them 3 or more?
Good question. I'd have to do some research on that. I know that, you finally got Notre Dame in '86, got Texas finally. My guess is anybody they play 3 times or more, they probably have beaten at least once. But I'd have to check the stats to be positive of that.
Yeah, I was trying to think about that myself, Gary, and again, just have to check it out.
Yeah,
see.
but good. I'll look it up. Matter of fact, next week I'll have the answer. I think you're probably right there. All right, let's go to Heflin and talk with Ken. Ken, how are you?
I'm doing fine, guys.
Good.
My question was, I've never really heard anything definitive on Robbie Green's suspension. Is it something kind of like the year that Todd Bates was suspended and had to sit out a year?
Of course, Todd Bates from Heflin could be. All that we've been told is that it's an NCAA suspension. He'll miss this season. He'll come back hopefully next year and play his senior year, but there's a good chance it could be something similar to that.
Yeah, and again, we just don't know the details.
All right, let's talk with Donnie in Fayette. Donnie, how are you?
Great, how are you?
Doing well.
I had a question. I heard a little talk about Alabama may put the ball in there more this year. I was wondering what your comments were on that.
Well, Donnie, and I'll let Rodney chime in too. I do think they want to throw it, and I think they want to throw it downfield. They've got some weapons, but again, when you got Ingram and Richardson, you're going to run first. I don't care how good your quarterback plays, how good those receivers are. They're going to be a run-first team. But, yeah, I think they want to throw it. I think they want to throw it and increase the number of big
Well,
plays.
I just think they want to be more effective.
Yeah.
And they were effective last year. McElroy had some really impressive numbers in a lot of games, and I just think they want to be able to do it more effectively.
Yeah, good point, right? It's not always how much you throw it. Sometimes it's how well do you throw it, and I think Alabama's going to throw it well. Well, coming up, Dante Hightower was a sharp-dressed man last week. That story is on the way next.